Child abuse affects millions of children worldwide and can severely impact physical, emotional, social, and cognitive development of a child. In many cases, the warning signs are visible, but often ignored.
Today we are going to talk about our project, which is Child Development Analysis, investigating the impact of child abuse through expert insights and case studies. Child abuse is when a parent or caregiver does something that harms a child's physical, emotional, or mental well-being. So basically, child development is how a child grows in 4 areas: physical, cognitive, social, and emotional. This can be influenced by things like their age, personality, and also their environment like family and school. But when a child experiences abuse, it can really affect their development in a negative way. Child abuse is when a parent or caregiver does something that harms a child's physical, emotional, or mental well-being. There are 4 main types, which is physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, and neglect. In Malaysia, child abuse is still quite a serious issue, especially physical abuse and neglect. This usually happens because of things like family stress, financial problems, or lack of awareness. As a future teachers, this is important for us to understand because we might be the ones who notice if something wrong and help those children. So today we'll be taking about the types of abuse, how to identify them in school, the causes, the effects on development, and also the roles of teachers.
So we have A, and then we have B, and then we have C, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is very important. So 6, 7 is the most important of all the numbers. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, Harry, very good. Yeah. So this is the main idea, the main, Okay, pay attention. As I was saying, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For the third time, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, these are the main factors. It's very important, and it's gonna come out for your final exam. So be sure to go back and study. So guys, I want you guys to copy this down. So yeah. Okay, everyone, class is over. You may go back home. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, what are you doing here? Why don't you want to go home?
It's nothing. I'm not feeling well. It's okay. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sosabel, and today I'll be presenting on the part of identification in school setting. This refers to how teachers and school staff can recognize possible signs of a child being abused through observation of a student's physical condition, emotional well-being, and their behavioral patterns. So, school actually plays an important role because the teachers interact with the students often, and through that, they can observe any sudden or unusual things that changes in a child's behavior, emotions, or their appearance. In many cases, teachers are among the first adults outside the home to notice that something may be wrong. So there are main three categories of a warning signs a teacher should observe. First is the physical sign, second is the behavioral sign, and the third one is the emotional sign. With these signs, it can suggest that a child is being abused or neglected, which is also another form of being abused. So the other physical signs include poor hygiene, dirty clothing, constant tiredness, not being able to pay attention in class, or appearing hungry on a regular basis. However, teachers should not immediately assume that the student or the child is being abused from one incident. Children can naturally get injured from day-to-day activities where they are outside constantly playing with their friends, which can cause them to get injured unintentionally. Moving on, the second sign is the behavioral sign. This sign is where a child experiencing abuse may show sudden changes in their behavior. For example, a normally cheerful and active student who is constantly loud and participates a lot in class suddenly becomes cold and pulls away and doesn't participate a lot during class activities. On the other hand, some children may become aggressive, disruptive, or show anger issues. They may struggle to focus in class, become easily startled, or frequently miss classes. Another significant behavioral indicator is fear of going home. If a child constantly appears anxious in class or when the school ends, they express reluctance to leave. This may suggest an unsafe home environment. Last but not least, emotional signs. This is where a child abuse often affects their emotional well-being. Teachers may notice signs such as anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, excessive fearfulness, or emotional withdrawal. A child may avoid eye contact during classes with teachers, friends, and may appear nervous around adults, or become overly eager to please others due to the fear of punishment. These emotional indicators are important because children often do not verbally disclose abuse. Instead, their emotions and behavior become the way they communicate when they are stressed out. An important question is, how can a teacher differentiate between a normal developmental behavior and signs of abuse? This is important because not all unusual behavior indicates abuse. For example, children may become moody, shy, or distracted due to normal developmental changes, academic stress, family adjustments, or social issues. The key difference is that abuse-related signs are usually persistent, extreme, and often appear together at the same time. For instance, if a child is quiet for one day because of a bad mood, this is usually normal. But if a child becomes withdrawn for several weeks, avoids physical contact with their friends and family, performs poorly in class, and also shows unexplained injuries, these all combined warning signs require teachers to pay extra attention. Now, I would like to connect this to a real-life example in Malaysia. One major example is the 2024 GISP Child Welfare Home Abuse case, where more than 400 children were rescued after allegations of abuse and neglect were reported. This case demonstrates the importance of early identification. Many children reportedly showed signs of trauma and emotional distress. If these warning signs had been recognized and acted upon earlier by adults in educational or caregiving environments, earlier intervention may be possible. Another example is the Ampang school punishment case reported by The Star in 2024, involving a student who allegedly suffered harm after being forced to stand under the hot as punishment. This case reminds us that schools themselves must ensure that disciplinary practices do not cross the line into abuse. Teachers and administrators must be able to identify when a child is experiencing physical or emotional harm, even when it occurs within the school environment. These examples show why teachers need proper awareness and training. When teachers suspect abuse, their role is to not investigate independently or confront the child aggressively. Instead, they should carefully observe, document concerning patterns, and report the matter to school authorities or the appropriate child protection services. In conclusion, identification in school setting is essential because schools are often the first place where warning signs become visible. By recognizing physical, behavior, and emotional indicators, and by distinguishing normal behavior, developmental behavior, from persistent signs of distress, teachers can play a critical role in protecting the children. Early identification can lead to early intervention, which can significantly reduce long-term harm and support healthier child development.
Research shows that causes on the both environmental and biological factors refers to real cases in Malaysia. Child abuse does not occur due to a single reason, but rather a combination of different factors. First, let's look at environmental factors. One major factor is family stress and socio-economic difficulties. Families facing financial problems or unstable living conditions may experience high levels of stress, which can increase the risk of abusive behavior. For example, in the GISB welfare home case in 2024, more than 400 children were rescued from several care centers in Malaysia where their abuse reported. This case highlights how poor living environments, lack of monitoring, and weak management systems can lead to serious harm to children. Another important environmental factor is domestic conflicts or unsafe home environments. When there is violence or disability in the household, children are more likely to become victims to abuse. This can also be seen in 2023 case of a young boy abused by his mother and her partner in Johor, where ongoing family conflicts and poor caregiving contributed to the abuse. In addition, lack of parenting knowledge is also a key factor. Caregivers may not fully understand child development and may use harsh discipline with it. Now moving on to the biological factors. One key factor is the child's age. Younger children are more vulnerable because they depend entirely on adults for care and protection. Another biological factor is the children's temperament. Children who are more active, sensitive, or difficult to manage may entirely get triggered or stressed in caregivers. Lastly, children with disabilities are special needs at high risk. For example, in the case of Zain Brian, a child with autism who was found dead in 2023, the situation raised concerns about how vulnerable the children with special needs can be unsafe. Overall, these three cases clearly show that both environmental factors such as family stress, unsafe environment, and lack of knowledge, and biological factors such as age and special needs work together to increase the risk of child abuse. This highlights that preventing child abuse requires not only protecting children but also improving family conditions, increasing awareness, and providing better support systems for caregivers. Thank you.
Okay, so physical abuse is a huge problem in our current generation and era. So how does this affect a child individually depends on four factors, which is physical development, cognitive development, social development, and more. So physical development affects their growth issues such as malnutrition towards the child and injuries to their brain related to trauma at a very young age. So when it comes to cognitive development, they have lower IQs and it can affect their memories, and due to memory delays, they can fail in their academics. So down to social development, when children tend to have hard time making friends around their school, so socially they're having trust issues and they tend to not trust their own friends and they tend to fail academically. So emotionally, these traumas trigger anxiety towards them and they have trouble managing their own emotions. So this can lead to outbursts without intentionally meaning it to someone. Furthermore, so due to children going through these traumatic events in their past life, how do they come out of this depends on how they act towards these social lives. So, for instance, they can take therapies which can increase their comfort and their trust towards another individuals. Okay. Furthermore, for instance, like this, even school provides helping guide, like counseling classes and all. This helps students go through whatever they're coping through in their personal lives, and moreover, they can also call helpline for licensed therapies. This helps them to overcome whatever they've gone through in their young age.
So now I'll be presenting my part of the project, which focuses on analysis of child abuse cases in Malaysia, supported by expert insight and also real-life evidence. So first, I will briefly discuss the 3 recent child abuse cases which reported in Malaysia. So then, I will also explain the role of teachers in supporting abused children. And firstly, I will be presenting our team suggestion also, like how Malaysia's child protection system can be improved. In Malaysia, child abuse remains a serious issue as shown by recent statistics and also the reports. So according to the STAR 2024, a total of 4,424 child abuse cases were reported on August 2024. So what is especially concerning is that like most of these cases was committed by individual known to the child, and also like such as like families, members, caregivers. So this highlights the abuse often occur in these environments where children are expected to feel safe. So in another report by the STAR in 2026, the authorities investigated the abuse cases like in child care centers, and also many of these centers were found to be like unregistered, which increased the risk of neglect and abuse due to the lack of monitoring. So additionally, according to the Free Malaysia Today 2025, there was average of 525 child abuse cases per month in the last quarter of 2025 involving physical, emotional and also sexual abuse. So this shows that child abuse is not only frequent but also involves multiple forms of harm. So when expert sources further explain the serious impact of child abuse, like according to the World Health Organization, like the child maltreatment includes physical, emotional and also sexual abuse as well neglect which can harm child's development and dignity. So the WHO also reports the 6 out of 10 children worldwide experience physical violence, and these experiences can lead to long-term mental health issues such as depression, anxiety and also post-traumatic stress disorder. So furthermore, adverse childhood experience, also known as ACEs, can increase the risk of negative behaviors later in life. So including substance abuse and violence, this shows that effects of abuse are not temporary but continue into adulthood. So secondly, the teachers are responsible for reporting suspected abuse to the authorities such as the Department of Social Welfare. So these ensure that children can receive the protection as early as possible. So teachers also provide emotional support by creating a safe and supportive classroom environment, and this includes the listening to students, and also like students can build trust and avoiding the judgment. So like some strategies teachers can use like creating a safe inclusive classroom or using any like positive reinforcement. In addition, a discussion by UNICEF Malaysia highlights that many abuse cases remain hidden and children often do not receive help. This emphasizes the importance of early intervention and awareness. So basically, like teachers play a very important role in supporting children who experience the abuse. So firstly, teachers act as the early detectors, and also they can observe changes in behavior such as like withdrawal, fear or sudden any academic decline.
So in our team opinion, right, several improvements are needed in Malaysia child protection system. So firstly, there should be stricter enforcement of law, especially for the unregistered child care center. And also secondly, more training should be provided for teachers so they can identify the abuse cases more effectively. So thirdly, there need to be better coordination between agencies such as like schools, police and social welfare department. And also in addition, like public awareness campaign should be increased so that communities are more aware and willing to report the abuse cases. Finally, more mental health support services should be provided to help the children recover from trauma. And these improvements are important to ensure that every child grows in safe and supportive environment.